It was as though I'd literally heard a voice from beyond the grave. And it was my mother's voice telling me that relationship was the thing that was most important. Here's how it happened. My mum had started to not be able to cope with the activities of daily living in her life. Things like going shopping and feeding herself, and her place was in chaos. She couldn't do any paperwork or taxes or numbers or anything. It had all become overwhelming. And her kitchen was the worst of all. Everything was stuffed in the cupboards, and the cupboards were just weighed down with everything. There was not a surface in her whole apartment that wasn't completely full and avalanching things. And one night, there must have been a huge crash in her kitchen. And all of the cupboards, all the cupboards above the stove, above the sink, above the counter, they'd all torn off the wall and fallen forward on a completely full and covered kitchen table, and had just emptied their contents out all over the kitchen. Well, Mum was lucky that she wasn't in the room at that time, of course. Otherwise, I don't mean to be humorous about it, she would have been buried in all of that stuff. And certainly that's not the way that you want to go. Although, metaphorically speaking, it feels like that with Alzheimer's dementia. When you can't keep track of things and things pile up like that, you're literally avalanched on with, all of the stuff and less ability to keep track of it. And then, when all the surfaces are covered like that, it's remarkable. You can't find anything anyway because it's not simple for the eye. It's all confusing, and you can't know you just don't know where anything is. And so it all avalanched out. And the next day I arrived, and we took Mum to a hotel, which, those rooms have that kind of simplicity. And I think she loved it partly for that reason. Partly when we were young, we used to escape to hotels. That's another story. And so we took Mum to a hotel, and I started to work through the stuff in the kitchen. I knew, there's no real easy way to do it. You know that when Mum goes back, she'll miss the things that she needs, even though it'll be simplified. There's really no way to win in that scenario, but it had to be done. It was, all over the floor, so it had to be sorted and organized. And one of the things that was on the floor and had kind of spilled open was this brass pot. And I wouldn't have noticed it, but it fell open onto the floor, and inside was a note. And there's a story to the brass pot, and I'll tell that story soon. It's called The Nurse and the Brass Pot, and it's quite profound. It relates to this story as, folk tales often do, and relates to this experience of caregiving of my mum. So keep an eye out for the story, The Nurse with the Brass Pot. And so this is what my mum wrote and left to be found after she passed away. Whichever of my very dearest family wants this or wants to discard it, meaning the brass pot, I send you my love, and remember, every day is a passing day. Every day is a passing day of your life, and it is very precious. Whoever you are with, make moments with them very, underlined, very special. It's not in our power to measure that length of opportunity. It does good to your soul, enhances your life, and there will be no regrets. Ever loving, Mumsy. So I got this note while Mum was still alive, before I'd really begun caring for her. And it was though in that making moments with them very special, as though this note was a path marked out in terms of how important it is, because we don't know the length of that opportunity. None of us can measure it. So when I found this note that was there to be found after Mum passed away, and the love that it was, that when you leave a note for somebody to be found after you pass away, you're thinking beyond your own death. And you're trying to even give beyond your own death. And that's what this note shows, the desire to keep on giving, keep on caring for each other, even beyond death. And so I took this note deeply to heart while Mum was alive. And it became a guide for me in what was important in taking care of my mum.